All right, welcome everyone here once again. It is so good to see all of you. And we want to welcome those who are at home watching us. You know, we have some very faithful viewers that are watching every week, and I think that is really great. And so they're not able to come for different reasons, but they're joining us, and we thank you very much for doing that. All right, so yeah, give them a hand because they're your friends. They just can't be here. So if you would, please stand. Gentlemen, remove your hats. There we go. Who pledges? All right, thank you so much. Yeah, I'm not into the playing ball tonight, trust me, but I know. How many of you went to that Tiger game Saturday? Just you guys? Oh, you got to go too, Rex? Cool. Y'all had fun, and I heard they actually won, right? So that's cool. I'm glad you guys got to experience that. So just a reminder, we have Snap 2.0 on Thursday morning at Reed Manor. We only have this week and next week before we go on break there. So it's just from 10 to 11. I hope that if you're in the area, you will join us. But we're small, but we're growing. We're going to have a good time, right? So, and also just a reminder, just because for our friends at Snap Tennessee is meeting on Saturday afternoon. So this is just really cool that they are continuing to do that. And our calendar here, I put the one up here, but everybody should have gotten a paper that have the dates on it that are so important for us. But I just still had fun with my little arrows, sorry, just a little geeky there. But so this week is 17th, Snap. Next week is the last day for the baby bottles. Okay, so we've got them up here tonight. You guys have been being wonderfully generous. And so next week is it. Because the following week, I'm gonna let you know the totals of the boys, of the girls, and the overall total for those babies. Okay, so that's going to be exciting. Also in that 2 weeks, and it is only 2 weeks away, will be our end of the year party night. Okay, so we're going to have a little bit more than just snacks for you, but I wouldn't count it as a full meal. So I would eat very light before you come. Don't eat a full dinner before you come, so you can enjoy all the goodies that are here, all right? So in the summer dates, and you have all of this on your papers that have the summer dates of the 21st of June, the 26th of July, and the 30th of August. It also gives you our September 13th start date again when we come back every week. Now remember, those 3 summer dates of June, July, and August, we start at 6 o'clock, okay? Because we have so much more to do. We haven't seen each other in weeks. We want to cram it all in, so we add that extra half hour. And there will be light meals in June and July and a regular actual meal in August. So that will be celebrating Snap's birthday. I also want to remind you that if you're riding the van, that means it's those really early pickup guys. I'm sorry. It's the only way you can do it. So some of you are going to be getting picked up mighty early again. So you get to just come and chill and join with me for a while, right? It's torture, I know. I'm sorry. So make sure you take those papers home. Put them someplace. Put them on your refrigerator. Give them to your home staff if they're not here, or make sure someone has them so that you remember them, all right? So we're on to our Feed the Bottle, Feed the Baby officially there. We got our beautiful little babies up there. And so let's see. Last week was week 10. The boys did $21.57. Yes. And ladies, you know, you can clap for the guys too. It's okay, all right? You know, it's for the babies, remember? So $21.57. The girls then did $5.30. Yes. Now, here's the thing. You might say, oh, but that's so much. You know what? Every penny counts. So it is not, against that their girls were only $5.30. So I can tell you right now, they're way over that tonight. But so we had a total last week then of $26.87. And that is a blessing for the babies. So thank you all very, very much for that. Did someone earn their tag? Do we think we have someone here that might have want this orange tag I'm wearing? Yeah, you think? I think so. I would like to ask Mr. David Smith to come on up. David has been coming. This is his 5th week in a row. So if you would bend over here, bend over. All right, turn around and stay right here, stay right here. All right, so we have an official welcome for you, David. Your verse is printed on the back of your tag, so you have it, but we're all going to say it together to welcome you officially. Are you ready? Trust. Welcome, David. Woo-hoo! Thank you so much. We're so very proud of him. No, remember, hands to yourself. Yep, thank you. All right. So I found a new little puppy to share with our birthdays. Yeah, he wants to make sure that if you have a May birthday, it's written down. But dogs don't have the best memory, kind of worse than mine even, because we also need to know either this week or next week if you have a June birthday, because we'll be missing those weeks and I need to be prepared for when we come back in June. So if you have a June birthday, on the right corner where you would write for May, if your birthday's in May, write your name and write May, or put an M for May. If your birthday is in June, write your name and put a J or write the word June so that I know, okay? And then in June, we're going to ask for the July and so on, because we have to work that month ahead, all right? So I appreciate you doing that. So last week, I want to share with you some, because again, I forgot last week. Last week, I had written on my Facebook post, and right in the middle of it, that if you're reading this, make a comment if you are coming. And 2 people did, only 2. And I forgot all about it until most of you guys were gone. But the 2 people that wrote the comment, because I had 2 gifts that I was going to choose from, they both got a goodie, right? So it was Shelley and Robin, right? You guys both got the goodies last week, okay? So tonight I'm only going to give away 1 goodie, which was the original plan. But 3 of you did make a comment that are here, okay? And that is Becky and Robin and Tina, okay? So I have their names written here. I don't know which one is which. I can't even feel. Am I touching the papers? Because I don't have feeling in my fingers. Is that helping? No, I can't feel them. All right, let's try this one. How about Miss Becky? Woo-hoo! All right, so Becky, you have a choice of 2 goodies that you can keep or share or give away, or whichever you would like to do. I will give it away. That's okay. Which one would you like? All right, go for it. Thank you very much for paying attention and reading the comments and then doing what I asked, because I did put it right in the middle. You had to read it, right? All right. So I think we are ready for Mr. Caleb to come and worship with us. Woo. We're just happy that he is here for us all the time. Yes. Remember, you may stand, you may sit, you may not talk, you may not play on your phones. Okay? This is time of worship.
All right, we're going to go ahead and worship. Can you hear me now? You can hear me? Okay, sweet. So go ahead and stand up if you want to stand. If you don't, that's okay. And we're going to worship together. sound awesome. blessed be your glorious name. Let the King of my heart be the mountain where I run, the fountain I drink from. Oh, he is my song. Let the King of my heart be the shadow where I hide, the ransom for my life. Oh, he is my song. You are good, good. Oh, you are good, good. Whoa, you are good. You're good. Whoa, you are good, good. Oh, let the King of my heart be the wind inside my sails, the anchor in the waves. Oh, he is my song. Let the King of my heart be the fire inside my veins, the echo of my days. Oh, he is my song. You are good, good. Oh, you are good, good. Whoa, you are good, good. Whoa, you are good, good. Whoa. You're never gonna let me down. 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 You are good, good. Whoa, you are good, good. Whoa, you are good. You're good. Whoa, you are good, good. Oh. When the night is holding on to me, God is holding on. When the night is holding on to me, God is holding on.
Oh my goodness. I let Caleb 90%, 95% of the time pick the songs, but we did sing these same songs on Sunday, and I just needed to ask him if he would do them tonight because it so fit in with what we were going to talk about. And so I just so appreciate his willingness to do that and to share with us. And so I've got something before we go on further that it's just very, very short. It's just a few lines. But I had gotten a message from Lizzie Trumbull, and she said, I'm sending you a card that I want you to read at Snap. So Liz is one who watches us every week. She lives up in Cass City. And so we're just very glad the live stream reaches all over. So if I can get it to come out, there we go. All right, so this is what she has to say to all of you. She says, "Hi, Carol and Snap Group. I am doing good in my new place and in town. Sorry, my new place in town. I've made a lot of new friends, but I do miss my Snap friends and my group there." Signed, Elizabeth Trumbull. And she made, this is so cute. I didn't even show it to Gary yet. This got a motorcycle inside. She decorated this all up herself and made it a nice little card. And so that is to you. She's thinking of you all. And so I wanted to share that with you. And so I'm glad she's doing well up there. We've had several members move away, and it's just, it's a good thing, and yet it's sad for us too when we lose members that way, but I'm glad she's doing well. So we are going on. Now, if you noticed any theme at all with your game you played earlier, for those at home, they had a piece of puzzle, a picture puzzle at their tables, and they had to find the other table that matched their picture. And what it did was it put together a picture of a lighthouse. And there were all different ones. I think only one had crashing waves on it. Who had the crashing waves pieces? Anybody remember with the waves crashing over the pier and the lighthouse? It was really cool. The rest of them just were at different times with their lighthouses showing, with their lights reaching out. And so just some beautiful pictures. You know, I'm going to share a few fun facts about lighthouses. But when the band sang that song Sunday, the lighthouse, it's like, oh my goodness, I need him to do it again, you know. And so this just works really well. So as we look at these first pictures, these are just three. Now, these are all pictures that you guys had in your puzzle pieces. There'll be one that didn't get passed out, but all the rest of them were passed out. These are just at various parts around the country and just kind of shining their lights. And if you notice the long one there's a lot of boats right out there, and there's a lot of rocks, and that lighthouse is really helping them to guide around those rocks so that they don't crash. That's their purpose. The other one, you can see that light goes way out in a straight beam. It's probably going out just as far as it possibly can. And we're actually going to be talking about that in just a minute. But as we move on to the next set, we've just got a couple. I love these because they had this starry sky in them and just beautiful. And they're different shapes. If you notice the different shapes, they're not all the same style. Lighthouses are actually built very, very, oh my goodness, if I could have put up all the pictures of lighthouses I found, I mean, there's just really strange looking ones sometimes and just absolutely beautiful ones. So as we move on to the next one, like the one on the left, that's a very, very old one, but yet it's still in use. The stone is looks like it's almost crumbling away, but yet it's strong enough to hold it. Whereas the red and white one, freshly painted, looks all really neat and clean and very, very much modernized. And so the next one, I think, oops, isn't that gorgeous? There's the best lighthouse of all. Thank you for adding that. That's really cool. That is, for those of you who do not know, that is Dave and Tina's balloon that I am going to get to go up in. Yes. So that is the balloon that they fly. There's the one with crashing waves. And that looks pretty scary, actually, to be out there. But it happens. Even on Lake Michigan, oh my goodness, some of the ones, if you've seen the pictures of the lighthouses along Lake Michigan, the way the storms come up, especially in the winter, and the waves actually get frozen right up on top of it. So that's pretty cool. And as I think I'm to the fun facts, yes. Okay, so I looked up a lot of different things about lighthouses. And also that involved the lighthouse keepers, the people that took care of them. Now, most of the time, And we're talking about the first lighthouses back in in like the mid 1700s, okay? And it was, I have the name of it coming up on one of them. I forget it already. My bad memory. But so lighthouses have been around for a while, helping to guide the ships. And most of them were single men. Because a lot of the lighthouses were in very remote areas, meaning there were no towns nearby. There was no easy way to get to some of them. In fact, I found out that there was one time even that 5 lighthouse keepers were killed trying to go home on their vacation. It's so treacherous of where their lighthouse was at. And, they survived all the storms and all that stuff, and then they were killed in a storm trying to get home. Sometimes they did have families. They might just have their wife, but eventually kids. And sometimes, in fact, very often, from what I found, the wives and the older children helped with taking care of the lighthouse. Now, you do remember, back in that first part, those lighthouses were like technically candles surrounded by glass, and they had to keep the oil in the lamps and to keep the wicks there, and the lamps had to be constantly wiped down and cleaned, and it was a very, very difficult job. And I wish, and I started to do it and I forgot all about it. If this picture of the stairs, totally spiral stairs, sometimes 100 steps, twisting on the inside of that lighthouse to get them, and they would have to carry all their supplies up those stairs. Then, to clean the outside windows, they would have a small walkway, and it didn't matter what the weather was, they would have to go every day out on that walkway and clean the big windows of the lighthouse. So it was very, very dangerous work. They had foghorns that they would use to, obviously in fogs. Hello, I even got that one right. But the foghorns would blow to let the ships know that maybe the fog was too dense to penetrate the light. If you've ever been in a car going down the road in the fog, and you don't see another car until they're right on you, even though they had their lights on. The fog is too dense. What the word is dense, it's too thick. So they would have the fog horns to warn the ships. And then they also obviously had the lights. Well, now the early lights worked pretty well, but they would get better later on, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Some of the things, though, that as hard as it was for them to find guys to work in the lighthouses, they had to be able to read, write, and do math, because they had to take just really, really serious written orders. I read, and I literally looked at all 126 pages of the manual that they had printed early on that told them all their individual little duties. And oh my goodness, you guys would not want to be light keepers back then. Tell them, I trust me on that. It just wouldn't happen. But they had to keep ledgers of every penny they spent and everything that went on. Their shifts started before dawn and didn't end until dusk, okay? Now, that was everything in preparation for getting the lights ready to be on all night. However, okay, so these guys have been up working hard 12 or 14 hours already. If a storm rolled in, guess who was still up all night long, taking care and making sure that light was working and the lamps were lit and everything was shiny and bright, because that was the most crucial time, the most important time for them to warn any ships in the area. So they would sometimes put in 24 or more hours depending on the storms, with nobody to relieve them, except maybe a wife if she was there to help. If they could get fired for, oh my goodness, there were pages of lists of reasons they could get fired. And it's like, okay, you guys, you need them to work here really bad. But this was how serious it was. If that light ever went out, and not immediately replace, like they could prove there was a reason, and not immediately get it lit, they were fired. If the supervisor or somebody came by and they didn't feel the lens was clean enough, they were fired. If their living quarters were not clean, the kitchen, the bedroom, the main living quarter, everything had to be clean. There could be no clothes on the floor, no towels on the floor, no dirty dishes, no unmade beds, nothing. Because they felt if they couldn't keep their living quarters clean, they were not going to take care of that lamp and keep it clean. They were fired. Superintendents loved to do surprise visits back then. If they used bad language, and I loved this part because, okay, you always hear about the sailors and all the, people even say they swear like a sailor and all that stuff, which is very derogatory to sailors. But if a supervisor or if someone reported them for using bad language, especially to someone working under them or someone in the same town or to someone on a ship or anything, they could get fired just for their language. If their records were even a penny off, they were fired. If it could have just been a simple math mistake, maybe the numbers were all there and they just somehow added or subtracted wrong, they were fired. And if they left their post. Now here's the thing. Let's say you've climbed that 100 stairs and you're up there and all of a sudden you really don't feel good and you really need to use whatever they used for a bathroom back then. And you left that post and the superintendent happened to come by or somebody else spotted you not up there, you could get fired. Now there were times of leniency a little bit if you had people to vouch for you that yes, a doctor said, yes, they sent for me right away, and he really was, this ill and, and all this. There could be leniency, but there was like a one warning thing. They were very, very, very serious about it. So as we move on, this is just a couple of pictures, actual pictures I found of a lighthouse keeper, this gentleman, the beard, the sailor coat, all that good stuff. I tried to find an actual one where you'd think of them with the big raincoats and all that on it. I could only find cartoon ones, and I wanted real pictures. This other one is a family, and they're all working down. This would be after the lights were more motorized, but see how this wasn't very motorized, okay, but it's the early technology, and they were all there and they posed for that picture. And back then, pictures took so long to take, who knows how long they actually had to stand there for that picture. But as we move on then, here's a couple things. Again, in that book I was telling you about that I looked at, there were 2 pages, 2 full pages, and we're talking teeny tiny print, okay? On just how to keep care of the lenses, how to clean them. It wasn't just take the rag and buff them out. Oh my goodness, they had to use this kind of cloth with soap and water, and then they had to use this kind of cloth with something else, and then they had to use skins, and I'm not quite sure what they meant by that, but they had to use skins next to clean them off, and they had to use a different skin to do it again. They had so many steps for cleaning these lenses around these lights. And it's like, oh my word, but they were willing to do it for their job. Then what was called, I know it doesn't look like it, but it's called the Fresnel lens was invented. Now the Fresnel lens was really cool because where the light shone out before from the lighthouse onto the sea, the Fresnel lens increased that light distance by miles. So the ships that were further out had more warning for coming in. And then they also, the guy's name was actually Fresnel, he made all these lights in different patterns so that along the East Coast, every lighthouse, their pattern was different. So that when ships came by, let's say they're in a bad storm, the storm is tossing them around, twisting them around, they're not sure, maybe their instruments aren't working, they don't know where they're at, they see a light, the pattern of the light would tell them where they were at. So that was really cool. That was a big step up. Now, all lighthouses today are automated. There's no real lighthouse keeper there except for one, and that's called the Boston Light. That's a name I couldn't remember before, the Boston Light. That they actually passed a law that says the Boston Light must be manned by a lighthouse keeper. And it's because it was the very first one. It was originally built in the 1700s. It was destroyed during the war. They rebuilt it, blah, 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 all that good stuff. But it is a law still today. It's the only lighthouse in the nation that actually has a person always running it. So those are some kind of cool facts. This is a picture of one of those Fresnel lights. Now, look at all those grooves and circles and diamonds and all that. Think about how I told you they had to be cleaned with the rags and the furs and the skins, and all that stuff. You're talking every little groove had to be cleaned. Can you imagine how much time that took? Can you imagine the patience it took of those lighthouse keepers to be able to do that? Anybody here want to be a lighthouse keeper and clean a Fresnel light? Yeah, no, I kind of wouldn't volunteer for that either. Well, there's some things that I want to relate here and check. Oh, gosh, we're further. I'm taking too long. But I want to share with you this scripture. And I want you to think about the lighthouse and the facts that I just told you. But it says, Jesus spoke to the people and said, I am the light of the world, and anyone who follows me will never walk in darkness. They will have that light. They will have life. And so when we think of the lighthouse keeper, there's a few things that we can relate. God's the light. He is the lighthouse. He's the one that's shining that light out. That makes us all the lighthouse keepers, okay? Now, we may not have to scrub that light, but we are the light that's shining for this world, representing God, okay? And that big old 129-page book with a little tiny fine print, well, we've got some Bibles, and they're way more than 129 pages, but they are so worth the reading of it. And it is giving us those directions for how we need to live our lives and to help others. And just like that Fresnel lens increased the abilities of the sailors to see the dangers and how to avoid them, the Bible gives us God's light to increase our ability to see the sin and the dangers around us so that we can avoid some of that. And there's so many different ways that can happen for us. And so I don't want you to hide your light. I don't want you to try to let it get dirty, by not cleaning up, by not reading your word, by not praying, by not talking to Jesus, by not being in church, by not worshiping, by not all these things that help keep your lens of the world clean. Okay? God is there for us, and his light is so powerful, and he wants to just shine it through all of you. And so I would just like you to think about those things. And I'm sorry, I am going to, at this point, I'm asking John to come up. And guys, I love you very much. I have to sneak off for another meeting that is starting in just a couple minutes. But John is going to take over with our prayer time, and he's awesome. And I thank all of you. Be a light in this world, okay? Don't hide your light. Thank you.
All right, we got a couple minutes, so we're going to go to prayer. But before we do, I know we have some requests. So I'm going to start over here, and I'm going to work my way over here. And if I don't get to you, remember, we have a great big God, and he hears things that I can't even hear. So, okay? So, Rick, what do you got for us? Okay. All right. So, Rick. Okay. So, Rick's mom made it back from a trip safely, and he had to go and help unload some luggage. but it sounded like he had a lot of fun and was a big help. Okay, more safe travels. His sister Stacy, right? So, Jamie? Right, yep. And not only Southwest, but I think there's one in here, Michigan, up in northern Michigan. I think there's a wildfire that broke out, a little bit of a fire. But yeah, it's devastating. Not only God's beautiful stuff is being destroyed, but people's house. Could you imagine being homeless? 1 minute having everything, and then the next minute only having what you have on your back? Becky? Okay, an unspoken. Okay, got a procedure. Keep him in prayer. Doug? Okay. All right. So Doug has a friend, Doug, who his mother's in a nursing home. So just pray for him for encouragement because it can be tough when your mom's in a nursing home. Sasha?
I went to the doctor's appointment today at 8:30, and with Dr. Mary, she said I'm healthy.
You're healthy? Okay, that's a great praise, right? Good job, Sasha. And you're losing weight still, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good job. Stacy? Pray you don't have to have all your teeth pulled out, right? Okay. Yep, we definitely want that. God gave us these chompers. We want to keep them. Okay, Jack's doing better. All right, one more right there.
I would like to thank everybody that prayed for me when I was sick. Thank you.
All right. Yes. He's back. This is the last one, and then we got to go to prayer, guys. Okay, one on her foot. Okay, one of her staff has to have surgery. It's okay. God will hear. So if I didn't get to you, our God is really big. He's got really good ears, and he can hear so many conversations at once. And just because I don't say it doesn't mean he's not listening. So, guys, if you could, take your hats off, and let's bow our heads. It doesn't make your prayer any better, like Carol says. It just helps us concentrate. So let's pray. Heavenly Father, just thank you for this day. Thank you for allowing us to come and have fun and talk with each other. But above all, Lord, learn about you. Learn about how you're the light of the world, and we are supposed to shine bright to people and let them see us and see you shining through us, Lord. And thank you for that. And Lord, we came to you with many, many requests. We have people that are sick and need healing. We have people that have been healed, and that's wonderful, God. You are the great physician, the great doctor. We thank you for giving that knowledge to the doctors we have here and allowing them to do these procedures to keep us healthy. And Lord, we pray for our friends that were traveling and they had safe travels. We know you have your hand on that. When we take those long road trips, it's always good to have you in that seat with us and protecting us. And Lord, just keep us safe. Allow us to come back healthy and energetic. And above all, just thank you for allowing us to come together. And all of us said together, amen. All right, we love you. Carol loves you. We love you as volunteers. Stay safe. Have fun. See you next week. Okay, we'll just...